Brought to you by Tri-State Livestock News, the Fence Post, and Farmer and Rancher Exchange. I'm Sam Tenpenny, back with more fair cattle markets daily headlines. According to the Hagstrom Report, July 2024 marks the first time since 2016 that USDA's National Agriculture Statistics Service has not published its July cattle inventory report. As a result, the American Farm Bureau Federation's Market Intel Service released an analysis that said it used data from several USDA reports to assemble the market outlook for animal proteins for the second half of 2024. According to the analysis, the 2024 cattle inventory is the lowest it has been since 1951, which has sent beef prices soaring. The hog industry is looking profitable too, but has a lot of ground to make up for last year's losses, as well as supply chain complications caused by California's Prop 12. Meanwhile, poultry, including eggs, broilers, and turkeys, continue to contend with the highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreak. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced that an additional $300 million will be available through the Regional Agriculture Promotion Program, also known as RAPP or RAPP, to help grow export markets for American farm and food products around the world. Access to international markets supports U.S. farmers at home and food security throughout the world. USDA launched RAPP last year as part of the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to create more new and better markets for U.S. producers and agribusinesses, and we've seen tremendous interest culminating in more than $1 billion in proposals for that first $300 million round of RAPP funding earlier this year. Given the importance of exports in supporting farm income and rural economic development, we're delighted to be able to make an additional $300 million available this year, said Deputy Secretary Torres Small. Secretary Vilsack announced in October of 2023 that USDA would use $1.2 billion from the Commodity Credit Corporation to establish RAPP to help U.S. exporters expand their customer base beyond established markets such as China, Mexico, and Canada, which collectively account for nearly half of all current export sales. In May, USDA allocated the first $300 million in RAPP funding to 66 U.S. organizations to implement hundreds of market development projects focusing on a wide range of products and markets. USDA published a notice of funding opportunity, and interested organizations must apply by October 4th. USDA anticipates that all allocations will be announced before the end of the calendar year. As with the first round of RAPP funding, USDA is again setting aside $25 million specifically for activities in Africa, which has some of the fastest growing economies, but the lowest levels of U.S. export market investment of any region in the world. According to the Hagstrom Report, when the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission virtually co-hosted the first public meeting of the Strike Force on Unfair and Illegal Pricing to discuss enforcement actions taken to lower prices for American consumers, agriculture and food came up several times. According to a Justice Department news release, FTC Chair Lena Khan announced that she will ask the Commission to launch an inquiry into grocery prices in order to probe the tactics that big grocery stores are using to hike prices and extract profits from everyday Americans at the checkout counter. Well, Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor highlighted the actions Antitrust Division staff are taking to enforce the law and lower prices in vital industries, including food and agriculture. Agriculture Deputy Secretary Torres Small highlighted the all of USDA approach to tackling food and agriculture pricing challenges for farmers and consumers alike, including an ongoing investigative study on retail concentration and market practices, as well as landmark efforts to modernize the Packers and Stockyards Act rulebook and build a competition partnership with state attorney generals. According to Tri-State Livestock News, the U.S. Department of Agriculture Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service is working on a program to track animals from birth until slaughter. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced its long-awaited update to the animal identification rules on Friday, April 26th of 2024. The June statement runs counter to the April plan, which calls for electronic identification in place of the silver metal bangs tags on sexually intact cattle 18 months or older and or bison that move across state lines. USDA estimates this includes about 11% of the U.S. beef cow herd and bison herd in the United States. The June post to their website reads, "A comprehensive animal disease traceability system is our best protection against a devastating disease outbreak. USDA is committed to implementing a modern program that tracks animals from birth to slaughter using affordable technology that allows for quick tracing of sick and exposed animals to stop disease spread." In September of 2018, USDA established 4 goals to increase traceability. These goals being to advance the electronic sharing of data among federal and state animal health officials, veterinarians, and industry, including sharing basic animal disease traceability data with the Federal Animal Health Events Repository, to use electronic identification tags for animals requiring individual identification in order to make the transmission of data more efficient, to enhance the ability to track animals from birth to slaughter through a system that allows tracking data points to be connected, and to elevate the discussion with states and industry to work toward a system where animal health certificates are electronically transmitted from private veterinarians to state animal health officials. In an April news release, USDA said that one of the most significant benefits of the rule for farmers and ranchers will be the enhanced ability of the United States to limit impacts of animal disease outbreaks to certain regions, which is key to maintaining our foreign markets. By being able to readily prove disease-free status in non-affected regions of the United States, we will be able to request foreign trading partners to recognize disease-free regions or zones instead of cutting off trade for the entire country. Traceability of animals is necessary to establish these disease-free zones and facilitate reestablishment of foreign and domestic market access with minimum delay in the wake of an animal disease event. Wyoming Congresswoman Harriet Hageman, a Republican who is carrying a bill to defund the electronic ID program to prevent USDA from implementing it, said that by USDA's own figures, which she does not necessarily trust, a birth to slaughter tracking program would cost at least $250 million. Hageman said that although USDA predicts their current official plan of requiring electronic identification of all 18 months and older sexually intact cattle and bison that cross state lines will cost about $26 million, the appropriations bill only includes $15 million to implement it. I guarantee most of that will go to expanding USDA APHIS in Washington and not to our producers, she said. And if it does go to the producers, it will go to the politically connected ones and not the little guy. Hageman said that the current system works for cattle traceability and the proposed electronic ID mandate is unnecessarily expensive and intrusive. APHIS Administrator Dr. Michael Watson commented that rapid traceability in a disease outbreak will not only limit how long farms are quarantined, but keep more animals from getting sick and help ranchers and farmers get back to selling their products more quickly, but will also help to keep our markets open. Hageman reiterated that this is a solution in search of a problem, as disease outbreaks in the U.S. are very rare. They try to act as if this is about disease traceability when you don't have disease traceability if you are only tracking 11%. This is incrementalism, according to Hageman, as she added that all you have to do is look at Denmark and Ireland. Denmark was the first country to do full mandatory ID. They just imposed a $100 per head tax on cattle producers. Without being able to trace each head of cattle, they wouldn't be able to impose those kind of restrictions on people. She also pointed out that in early 2022, Ireland adopted an EID mandate, and by August of 2023, they issued an order to slaughter 41,000 head of cattle, not because of disease outbreak, but because of global warming. Hageman said that the three industries currently under scrutiny for climate change are energy, travel, and cattle. She believes the next step will be BQA and that we won't be able to sell if we are not BQA certified, claiming that that's how they put producers out of business, reduce meat production, and get cattle off federal lands. She said that she can foresee adopting a rule that if you don't comply with BQA, you can't get a grazing permit, as well as a potential methane tax in the future, claiming that this is all about controlling our food supply and food chain, as more and unneeded regulations will lead to more beef imports, as mandates like electronic ID can put U.S. producers at a disadvantage against imported beef that does not have such requirements. United States Cattlemen's Association and RAPP USA both support Hageman's efforts to halt USDA's implementation of the electronic identification mandate, while back in February, the NCBA Cattle Health and Wellbeing Committee adopted a policy to support the current USDA rule to require electronic identification of 18-month and older sexually intact cattle moving across state lines. Additionally, NCBA will provide outreach and education to members following anticipated publication of USDA's final rule requiring EID devices, and that they will support a private industry-managed, non-government independent database collaborator to serve as a hub for critical data and coordination. And that is all for now. Tune in next week. We'll be back with more Fair Cattle Markets Daily Headlines.